Now, today marks exactly a year since 21 young people died in what's now commonly known as the Enyobeni tragedy in the Eastern Cape. The circumstances surrounding their deaths at a tavern are still being investigated. The Provincial Health Department's preliminary findings were inconclusive, and parents have been told that their children died by suffocation. Let's get you a sense of how at least one parent is feeling this morning. Khululekile, I beg your pardon, Ncandana, who's a parent who lost his 17-year-old son in that tragedy, joins us now via our video link. And thanks very much indeed for your time, sir. Once again, even a year down the line, our deepest condolences to you and your family. You know, people who write about grief often speak about how difficult the firsts often are. The first birthday, the first month perhaps after a loved one has passed away. Do you even have the words to describe how you're feeling today?
Good morning, Ayanda. Good morning to your viewers as well. Well, as it is today, the first, it's a year after the passing away of our children. It is still as if it happened yesterday. The pain, it's still there. The pain is unbearable, and there are still a lot of questions that need to be answered.
Yeah, and I suppose that's what really piles on what makes at least accepting the situation a whole lot more difficult. The fact that it is still shrouded in so many questions.
Yes, I understand, most definitely. Because if you remember when those results were actually given to us verbally, we rejected them from the very onset because we believe that something is being hidden. I mean, even today, a year later, we have nothing in our hands that tells us exactly what happened to our children. So we still have a lot of questions that are not answered yet. And from what we were given and by who we were given, it still have a lot of questions from our side.
Wow. So you're saying even now, that forensic report, which I understand the parents didn't have access to after it was concluded, even today you still don't have it?
Even today, we don't have those forensic reports. They are still with the authorities. And as to which authorities are they with, we don't know. And from what they have actually given us verbally, it's still a mystery to us. We still have questions, and not only questions. And firstly, or before, then when we were given those results, we suspected that something is not on. We are not just suspecting. We know that something is not on.
What do you reckon is being hidden from you?
Well, what is being really hidden from us is the actual what killed the children there. And I mean to say, as they were giving us, they lied to the nation, they lied to us as parents to say that all the children, alcohol was detected from them, all the 21 children. But we know for the fact that not all children, alcohol was detected from them.
How would you kind of, I suppose, rate government's interaction with you? Because part of the criticism even we face as the media is that whenever there's a story like this that comes our way, a lot of attention is, of course, given to it, and that spurs government to at least appear as though they're doing something about it. But as with most things, other things take over, and sometimes we move slightly away from, following the story as closely as we should. When the cameras are switched off, when the journalists leave the community, how would you rate how government has interacted with you as affected parents?
Well, in the scale of 10, I will rate them 2. I mean, we last interacted directly with them during the mass funeral. After that, it was boom. We all by ourselves, and we are trying to get contact with them, but it's quite difficult. No one from the government side is interested in coming to the fore.
That's devastating to listen to. Would you say it's the same with authorities, those who are investigating this matter?
Well, when it comes to that, there's still a lot of questions because when you are being told that a year later that they are still investigating, and as much as they are investigating, what is it that they are investigating? How far will it take for them to investigate that? At least to give us a clue as to what is actually happening. Because the case that is before the court now is for selling of alcohol to the underage children. The criminal case as to the death of our children, it's still not there yet.
Yeah. You know, many people will remember how the police minister reacted at the scene of whatever took place now exactly a year ago. He actually broke down, and people who are sympathetic towards him, I suppose, said, you know, he's really moved by what happened. But there were other people who are a whole lot more skeptical because I'm afraid we know that government has a track record. If he was to get your audience a year down the line, I do wonder what you'd want him to hear from you.
Well, what we would like to hear from him is to keep the promises that he made there when he broke down, to say they will get to the bottom of this and make sure that justice is being done for our children. But none of that has happened yet. I would like to concur with the people who when they saw him breaking down, some of them say, no, these are just crocodile tears. I really concur with them. I mean, he's a politician. I mean, he will come in front of us, in front of the nation, and act as if he cares. But if he did care, where is he now? Where are the promises that he made? Yeah. Those are the questions.
Sure. It's a difficult question to ask this, but do you have a sense of what happens next? I mean, you know, sadly, the wheels of justice, even if they turn quite slowly. And I shudder at the thought of us being here a year down the line. I mean, I wonder in the interim whether you and other parents have any idea of what you could do yourselves to at least feel like, you know, you're doing a bit more than just sitting and waiting for these investigations to be concluded.
Well, we cannot just wait for the investigation to be concluded. We have to do something, and we are doing something, you know, as to try and find answers and try to say something must be done so that parents can get closure. But as far as it is now, it seems as if we're still far from that. So we will keep fighting. We won't just stand by and do nothing. We will fight for the justice for our children. There has to be someone who's accountable. So they need to account.
Yeah, absolutely. I think it would be remiss of us not to take a moment to, in some way at least, honor your 17-year-old who you lost this time last year. I wonder what comes up for you when you think about him. Perhaps a last conversation you guys were able to have, or, you know, the kind of son he was to you.
Well, a lot is coming up because when I think about this incident and I think about what happened there, you know, part of me has been taken away from me. And I have a wound and that will never heal. This is a wound that will never heal to me. And I mean, whenever I look into the rooms that he slept in, I'll always think about him. Even a year later, it seems as if I will see him coming into the house. But nevertheless, all that I want justice, I want accountability for the death of my son.
Absolutely, and I think that's not asking for much. Dr. Khululekile Ncandana, singathi ningakhululeka as a family. We wish you strength, and we're hoping that, yeah, at the very least, justice that you so much deserve will be coming your way. Thank you so much for speaking to us. That is Khululekile Ncandana, the parent of one of the 21 teenagers who died this time last year in the Enyobeni tragedy. It's a story we'll keep watching for you as it continues to unfold.